Crossings. Paranormal Crossings. Paranormal Crossings.
Hello, welcome to Paranormal Crossings. I'm your host, Aaron Collins. My co-host,
Elise Wells.
This is new for us to be on television. We normally are on blogtalkradio.com, Paranormal Crossings. And now we're bringing it to live television, exactly what we do on the radio. And so we have a special guest today who I'll introduce in just a moment. In the meantime,
I know we had to actually dress up for this.
I know. I can't sit around and sweat.
I'm usually in my pajamas with my headphone on. Can you hear me?
Exactly. We're used to, with the blog talk, we're used to using the phone, and that's how we normally host the show. So this time, we actually get to see each other.
That's
so,
right.
I know.
That's right. Be live.
I feel bad for you.
Oh, don't.
So, well, we've been off the air for, 3 weeks, I think. I think we missed several shows.
Well, we had our last week's show that was fun.
We did.
We just kind of spiced it up with a little bit of just normalcy.
We did. It was just us talking.
Yeah.
We didn't even have a guest.
Yeah, we were talking about just all kinds of random things.
Stuff.
Toys.
Yeah.
My little
stuff.
Boo doll.
Exactly.
I should have brought Boo tonight.
You didn't. See, now I'm sad.
I
Wait.
know. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Anyways. So, as those of you on Blog Talk know, but the viewers may not know, I am a lead paranormal investigator for NW Paranormal Investigative Team, and Elise is our psychic medium investigator for NW Paranormal Investigative Team. And we decided to bring a little bit of what we do in the field, but to the table, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we've got some exciting guests lined up. We have, tonight, we have an amazing gentleman I've had the pleasure of spending quite a bit of time with since yesterday. And he is...
And through the night, apparently.
And through the night.
Through the night,
that's right. Talking until 2 in the morning. I mean, we had so
yes,
much to talk about.
yes.
And I'm more than ecstatic to have him on. And so,
Well, thank you.
yes. And so, he is an author. He is a paranormal investigator. And he is a biblical demonologist and photographer. And he's going to get into all of that. And I'm so excited. So I'm going to read just before I say the name. I'm going to read a little bit on the back of a book. He has a book out, and it's called Valley of Silent Men. And I don't know. I know I'm not supposed to, do this right at the last second, but okay. Valley of Silent Men takes you on a fast-paced page-turning excursion through generations of alcoholism, drug addiction, and the elusive search for hope. If there is anyone in your circle of family or friends that is battling the demon of addiction, this book seems to give those that have read it that breath of fresh air that screams, "You're not alone," and there really is a way out. The author does not preach or try to teach. This is not a self-help book, but simply a real-life, intimate look into soul of addiction. In this autobiographical work, a fiction, you will go to hell and back and witness what only the Savior of the world can do when all hope has been extinguished.
Amen.
And so that's powerful. And I just received this book last night, so I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But please accept our wonderful guest today. And his name is Douglas Jackson.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Well, and he
I'm
came
so
on the
excited.
train, so I understand the train ride was beautiful.
It was absolutely beautiful. We loved it, my wife and I.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, and that was what, a 4 or 5 hour trek? I mean,
Yeah. It got a little dicey when we got to the Max that I've never taken before. And
those of you who have been on Max, you know what we're talking about
yes, yes. But anyway, we made it.
here. Good. Well, before you get into what you do, tell us a little bit about where you live, because that's interesting in its own.
Well, I live in the rainforest of Washington. I live up there by myself in the dark, and I'm a demonologist. So I spend time with a lot of spirits up there, but the spirit that stands before me is Jesus Christ, and He is my answer. But up there, there's no running water. We live off the grid, and everything that we do is a chore. But you know what? I love it. It's absolutely beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yes, yes.
You know, I was telling you last night, I'm kind of envious. I watch a lot of the people who live off the grid shows and just amazed.
Like the people that live up in Alaska?
Yeah, exactly. You know, life below zero, things like that.
I hate to say this, but, you know, I think that I'm curious, you know, like, is life not stimulating enough that you have to throw some serious normalcy of how it was to be a survivor every day?
Well, but the beauty is that I spend time with the Lord. I pray. I can go out and walk for miles and miles in the woods without seeing anybody. Not that I'm an antisocial person, but I love the solitude up there, and it's given me the opportunity to write the book that I'm writing now, and that is called Civitas Diaboli, the Kingdom of Satan.
Say it again.
Civitas Diaboli, the Kingdom of Satan.
Okay, and I think you're going to read a little bit from that here in a little bit, from some of the pages that you've written.
I can
And
do
so,
that, yeah.
But I'm curious, Douglas, what inspired this book of yours that you wrote?
Well, I got to the point to where I'm the shows that I see on television with psychics and mediums and so on and so forth. They're not biblical, and I'm a biblical demonologist, and so everything that I deal with is from the Bible, and the Bible expressly forbids certain actions and mediumship, clairvoyance, things like that. God calls an abomination. Now, and I believe that if I go by the word of the Lord, I will find myself in the situation that, of course, a child of Christ should be in.
Sure. And by the way, I'm non-affiliated with any religious party, so I'm totally open, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that find that it goes against their belief, and I respect that, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, a little bit about what the book was about. It talks about, kind of finding your own. Is this a reflection of you or someone you know, a family, or?
Well, it's a reflection of me, and it takes you through, like it says, so many years of drug addiction. I was addicted to heroin for years. I mean, but I wasn't only addicted to heroin. I shot heroin up in my neck.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was always so close to death.
Sure.
Wow.
And I praise the Lord that I know that if I would have died in my sins, and only by His mercy that I didn't, that I would be in a place that I don't wish on anyone.
Well, and you're also in a place to teach, inspire. That's what's beautiful about this, is that somewhere, somehow, there's someone who absolutely believes and hears everything that you're saying.
Yes,
And you're an inspiration to them.
well, thank you, and I try to be, because, it's the Lord told us to be a light to the world,
Right.
and when I find and I counsel people all the time, and when people are lost like this, because when I was lost like this, there was no hope. There was no way out. I tried everything. I tried to quit. I quit many times, but always came back to it. The only thing that saved me was Christ Jesus, and by the blood of the Lamb. Yes.
That's wonderful.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
And so, and how long have you been clean and sober?
20 years.
20 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
and the thing is that I'd say probably 85% of the people that I've known in the past are either dead or in the penitentiary.
Wow.
And my heart bleeds for them, because, like I said, there's a place that no one should go to. And it's a place called hell.
Yeah.
And if you trespass God's moral laws, that's where you'll be. And I talk to people, young people, old people, whoever. I talk to them about this. And you know, I don't argue with anyone. I don't try to force it on anyone. But what I do is I pray and ask the Lord to open their hearts.
Right.
And when He does that work, then hopefully I'm there to help them.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm gonna because we are doing two things simultaneously. So we're on live television and we're also on Blog Talk Radio.
Okay.
And so for the listeners on Blog Talk Radio, we have a new phone number for you to call in, and I encourage you to call in and ask Douglas questions, and or if you have comments, give us a call. And the number is, and I've put it on Facebook and put it out on Blog Talk, but it's 503-667-7555. Those that are watching the show, you can see it on the screen right now. It's 503-667-7555. And so I encourage anyone to give us a call, and feel free to talk to all three of us or just address one of us, whatever you want to do. Or if you just have a comment, we will be more than happy to take your call. And so I'm excited about hearing. We're going to have to just explain what we thought we had set up for tonight. But you know what? I want you to be back on the show again.
Okay.
And I want to do a follow-up maybe in a month or two.
All right.
And we're going to have it all set up to where we can show the video, which has the audio built into it, as well as the digital recorder.
Right.
So I'm going to let you set this up and talk about what happened. So if you could talk about the video clip and the prayer, and then talk about how the audio, digital recorder was running at the exact same time as the video was running, and what the difference was.
Well, before I do that, can you explain to them, because I only found this out last night when you told me, because I didn't know on the digital recorder that as the things happened, that the numbers on there were going consecutive. I didn't
Yes.
know anything about that.
Okay.
Okay.
So on a digital recorder, when you record, there's the counter numbers. And so as the recording goes on, the numbers go higher and higher and higher, and it's all consecutive. And what I was looking at last night as a paranormal investigator, I had to put that hat on for a minute. I watched the video clip, which you go into this long prayer, and I'll let you set up where that is here in a moment. And then I played the audio from the digital recorder that was recorded at the exact same time the video was taken. And what blew me away, and still today when I heard it this morning again, it's unbelievable, because whatever it was took bits and pieces from your audio, from your prayer, out of the digital recording.
Yes.
And so what I did was, if you bump a record player, it's going to skip, and you're going to see the needle skip.
Right.
But in a digital recorder, what I looked for was, are there any numbers that are jumping on the counter with the prayer going on? And all the numbers were consecutive, 29, 30, 31, but the audio was and taken out.
Yes.
And I as a paranormal investigator can't explain what happened. So maybe if you can set it up, where were you?
Okay,
where the video was at?
I was at the Crystal Lake Cemetery in Corvallis,
Oregon.
Oregon.
Correct.
And we were going out to do our paranormal work. And when I go out, I call on demons, because what I want them to do is manifest themselves, because I want to show the world that what they think is their grandmother or Aunt Sally, they're really demons. And what they do is they ape people. And so
You're just out there cleaning everything up.
yeah,
right?
well, that's what I am.
Like,
That's what I try to do.
Like a garbage man, you know? Come on, everybody,
Yeah,
it's time to go, clean up.
And that's exactly what that is. It's garbage. But I called on. I said a prayer, and in my prayer, and the main thing to me is the blood of the Lamb, because the blood of the Lamb, the covering of the blood of the Lamb, is protection for us. But in this, I said the prayer, and when I played it back, this night, something, and I know what it is, the demons took out, every time they took completely out the blood of the Lamb. Whenever I said it, it was gone. They took out as many times Christ's name. And when I talked about the witch, because they said in Corvallis that there was a witch that if you go into that cemetery, it'll blow up your leg. Yeah, and supposedly this witch came years ago. It was a warlock. He molested many of the women in the town.
Wow.
And this is the saying that goes on there. And when I found that out and realized that what they had done, what these demons had done, is taken out everything pertinent to that prayer. And then of course you heard it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing. I really wish we had it tonight.
I do too. And you know what we might do is when we replay the show eventually, maybe I'll try to get that audio, both audios, up, and that way people can hear the comparison.
I would love it.
The actual prayer, and then the digital recording, and you got to hear it. We'll do it after the show, and you can, and it'll blow you away.
Right.
And
Excuse me. Let me tell you what else happened that night.
Oh yeah, please.
My wife is she runs as far away from what I do as possible.
Right.
But when I went home that night, I plugged it into my computer, and I was going over the footage that we had at the cemetery, and my wife is sitting on the couch, and suddenly the computer started to growl. Now, this was a deep, guttural growl, something like I have never heard before. And I turned around and I looked at my wife, and we both.
She said, "This is exactly why I don't like this."
Exactly.
And can you find another room to be playing that in?
No, he turned to his wife, and the door was shutting. She was gone.
Saw the bottom of her feet. But she sat there, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and we just sat there with our mouth, because this went on for a while, and then suddenly a menagerie of sounds came up under it.
Wow.
You know, like
You didn't hear any of that at the time of the recording.
No, did not
Only
hear.
at the playback when you got home.
Exactly.
Wow. So how did that make you feel?
Well, this is what I did. When the menagerie sound came on, it chilled our blood. But then I told my wife that we don't have anything to fear. I said, we are under the protection of the blood of the Lamb. And I said, what these things have done is followed us from the cemetery, and now they're here in our house. And I prayed, and I covered our house with the blood of the Lamb, and it was over with.
Wow.
But that was only the beginning. Because what happened was, this was a very, very foolish thing that I did. But that was a long time ago, and in hindsight, I took other people with me. And my daughter and my son-in-law, who love each other deeply, they were there with us recording. And my daughter called me that night and said that her husband had slapped her and spit in her face and left. This is a 300-pound gentle giant.
Wow.
I mean, you don't see an angry bone in him. But what happened that night is that these things followed everyone home.
Wow.
The girl that was there, she jumped in a car with a prostitute, and she took off to California. In the morning, later on that night, my daughter called me. In the morning, my daughter called me and said that my granddaughter said that she saw a demon in her room, and said she wanted her papa to come over and get it out.
Wow.
So that's exactly what I did.
Wow.
I went over there and I prayed for them and prayed for their house and pled the blood of the Lamb. And Brandon came home, kissed his wife. He had no idea what had happened.
Really?
Had
So no recollection.
He just, what did I do? And she told him. And they both cried. And I had to apologize to them because when you go out on these kind of demon hunts, exactly, you know, you really
You have
need
to be, have to know what you're doing. We talk with a lot of paranormal groups, and there's certain techniques. We've got our Kentucky friends, and they if they find anything dangerous, they're done.
Phantasmic ghost hunters, plug.
But
in
you know,
Kentucky.
you do have to be careful because it can pick anyone
exactly.
of a group, and if
Yeah.
you're not all squared away,
Yes.
you know, or doing some sort of cleansing, or you know, we talk about this when we talk about Ouija boards, and
Yeah.
we inform our listeners all the time. If you go in, you got to come out. You know, you got to open and you got to close it.
And don't use
Well,
it
but
in the
that's
first
exactly
place,
right
yeah.
because I don't know if you know what Ouija means. Ouija is French and German for yes, yes. That's what a Ouija is. And when you go into that, what you're saying to this spirit, you're saying yes, yes. And then when you ask all these questions, you've already opened yourself up, just like you said. You've already opened yourself up to demon incursion. And what you've already said just by entering yes, yes, is that I'll agree to what you say. And that's why people are, terrorized by those, by the Ouija boards.
Sure.
Yes.
We talk about to a lot of our guests, our show about how to get rid of them. You know, some of them just want to get rid of them. I've always understood that you have to give it away. You can't just throw it away. What is your feeling on that?
Well, my feeling.
First, don't get one, right? Probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, people that tamper around with the occult, as you already know, that if you shouldn't be there, then these things can possess you.
Sure.
And the only way that I know that you get rid of these malevolent beings is through Jesus Christ and the blood of the Lamb. That's the only way that I know. I mean, because when I was addicted to heroin and was going through withdrawal, demons would attack me, and I didn't want to close my eyes. I didn't want to go to sleep because it was so horrible that I can see how people lose their minds, and that's what they want to do. They want to destroy you.
Yeah.
They want to destroy. They want you to kill yourself, and so many people do, and end up with them. And what they say is, "We tricked you."
Yeah. Well, you know, we just had a past show a few weeks ago or so, and one of our guests, we had a call in, and they had brought up a pink Ouija board, which I had never heard of before. And
This wasn't the Barbie board or something, was it? It was some.
well, close. And so I'm not gonna name the toy store that carries it.
I will. No, I won't.
But the thing that was the most appalling is, and I mean, you can see it. You're sitting next to me, and I have it pulled up. But it's a pink Ouija board, and it's got the sun and the moon, you know, up in the corners, and then it's got a handy carrying case. It shows at the bottom, but it says, "Ask the questions girls want to know."
Oh man.
And to me, that's just appalling.
It is.
You know, this is a Ouija board, and it says Ouija, mystifying oracle.
There's
And
no
so-
instructions
No.
other than place your hands on the thing
Yeah.
and come together.
Yes, exactly. And you'll know whether Johnny B has a crush on you or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, come
Woo!
on. This is
Tonight,
ridiculous.
girls, we're gonna
Yeah.
do it.
It's
Exactly.
an ancient evil, and the thing is that it's not that pink little board, it's the craft behind it.
Exactly. And that's how they lure you in.
That's exactly
They
right.
lure, and starting with the kids.
Yes.
They're attacking our kids.
Yes.
And setting them up for a disaster.
And-
in my
and-
We
opinion.
were talking a little bit about your youth and your faith and some of the things that you got to see as a young child.
Well, got to see, but I don't know if but I saw as a young child. I mean, I was raised up in a Pentecostal church, and my father was a Pentecostal pastor. And in retrospect, I look back on that and I realized that it was totally demonic. I mean, because our church was one of those churches you call the Holy Rollers. And they rolled and they rolled and they rolled. Those women rolled on the floor every single
Oh,
night.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And but there was
And
no
they,
peace.
Well, and they do look like there is something that's
yeah.
uncontrollable.
That's
I mean,
right.
Sweating and
there's-
shaking.
That's right.
and-
Yeah.
Well, you know, you go to the other countries, Africa, Brazil, and you see the same thing in their witchcraft, so their black magic ceremonies. They act. You can put them side by side, and they look exactly the same because they are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, tell me more about the cemeteries. Now, you go to various cemeteries. Is that what you prefer? You prefer to go to cemeteries to do investigations, to take pictures, which I really wish we could show the pictures that you took.
I really do.
But you can describe them, and I can back you on that because I saw them myself, and
Yeah.
it is creepy.
Yeah, it's you know what I mean, I wish we could be showing it to you, but you know, there's we have one where a light as we're going through, and we don't see any of this that night, but there's a light that starts to do a dance up in the air, and then suddenly our cameraman says all of my equipment just went dead.
Wow.
Because, like you said, energy.
Right.
That's what they are. That's that energy, and they can pull that energy. That's why you go into a room and it gets cold.
Right.
And there's a stench that goes with them. If you smell this stench and it's rotting flesh and sulfur are the smells that you'll smell with them. And when you come into that situation, if you, as far as I'm concerned, if you're not covered with the blood of the Lamb, you're probably in trouble.
Has anyone of your group ever gotten hurt physically?
Well, each other, just like the story that
Sure.
that you know that I was just talking about. You know, yeah, they will send you against each other. I mean, like I say, my son-in-law he would never think of doing something
Sure.
like this, but slapping his wife and spitting in her face, that's just evil.
Sure.
And like I said, there's nothing in him that does that. But yeah, people get hurt, you know, and I wouldn't want to, you know, talk about other people. You know, my daughter, I've already and son-in-law, I've already told them that I was going to mention them on the show.
Okay,
so,
good.
so that's
So
okay.
you're not going to get screamed at when you
No,
go
no,
home.
no,
Okay,
no, no.
Good.
But yeah, that does happen.
Have you had places that call you to have you come in and release the demons?
Yes, I have. And the first thing I have to do is do what they call an anamnesis, which is a background check. I have to find out if there's been any witchcraft in their family, because what the Bible says is that God will punish the children for the sins of the father to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me. And he talks about occult involvement, but he says those that hate me. And I've talked to people and I've seen where it is the third and fourth generation of the people, because what happens is that it'll get stronger in your family. And I don't know any other way to say it, but you really need the
There's-
blood.
There's a little bit to be said on the psychic belief side that it is generational. That if you had a grandmother or a grandfather,
Exactly.
that it does pass down. So it's
Exactly.
very interesting that genetically we're prone to whatever our ancestors
That's right.
have done.
That's right.
You don't think to go back so far to find out where I actually can you imagine the people that have been adopted that are thinking, you know, I have no idea where this is all coming from, but yet it's still in their
Exactly.
genetic code.
And they don't, and they have no idea. The people wonder why children, because they say, why would this child be haunted? Why is this child seeing apparition? Why is this child being slapped? You know, I mean, this is what it is. It's you look back into the generations and find out what it is or who it was, and then what I do is, if there's nothing in the generations, then then I will.
Where have you been?
Where have you been? What have you done? Have you tampered with the occult? Because, well, 100% of the time, I've never run into anybody that doesn't have that is having seen spook apparitions or having these manifestations that it is not either in their family or that they've tamped around. The Ouija board will bring it right straight to your face. Yeah.
You know, we had an experience not that long ago where we investigated a haunted location out here near Gresham in Troutdale, and we were in a room that was said to be haunted by, I think, a woman and a daughter, a little girl, and so we were all in the room. We had one camera, and then we had digital recorders, and all the energy was sucked out of that camera, and the camera went black. Now that was a fresh battery, fairly fresh battery, when we got up there, and it just drained it.
I remember that, and you were looking at turning that thing, going, I
Like,
don't
what?
understand. Didn't we just put a new battery in that? Hey, Steve, did we get
That's them. Yes.
Who forgot to put the batteries in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there was some pretty interesting stuff that happened there.
It was
Not quite as, but we weren't actually calling it out either.
No.
I think that can be a lot of people's problem, is that they'll test it, and they'll say, show yourself, you come out,
Right.
but then they don't know how to put the genie back in the bottle.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
Although
right.
Elise was in the corner and she had her broom, and then she had a big pot, and she had her witch hat.
please.
No.
I am far from being a witch.
Okay, so we've known each
I
other
have
15 years. I feel comfortable enough to say
I
that,
have
right?
read on the occults. I've read Wiccan. None of that stuff feels right to me. I just, it's pure white energy, pure white light. That's how I believe. I don't. I'm excited for him to get some information and start to learn about, because I do believe somebody who has a very true faith, absolutely unbreakable, unpenetrable faith. This is why the Catholic religion, a lot of the demonology and stuff, is because it's just it's someone who has an unbreakable faith, regardless of what it is.
Yes.
And you
I don't.
well, blood of the lamb.
You understand.
Yes.
His might be God, or Jesus Christ. That all varies, but your technique is the blood of the lamb.
The blood of the lamb. Yeah. And it's fine for us to agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
But
I do believe, though, in order to even attempt any kind of cleansing with the demonology, you have to be of pure faith.
Absolutely.
100% pure
Absolutely.
faith. Unbreakable.
Absolutely. Because they will penetrate you if you're not.
They'll find that weakness
That's
in you,
exactly
and they'll
right. That's exactly right.
So define biblical demonologist. What does that mean, and then how do you go about
Well,
you yourself go about
well,
it?
you see demonologists all the time on the telly, but they're demonologists.
The telly. I'm sorry, I haven't heard that expression in a long time. The telly.
Suddenly we transported over to England.
That's
and-
right. That's right.
On the
That's
telly.
right.
Carry
the
on,
telly.
Douglas.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. So, biblical demonology. Basically, everything that I get is from the Bible, and
the teachings.
the
and-
teachings
and- okay.
of the Bible. Yeah, well, okay, right here it says, this is in Deuteronomy. It says, when you enter the land, and this is when the Lord was giving the children of Israel land that the pagans owned. And then there was a lot of detestable practices. It says, when you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, do not learn to imitate the detestable ways of the nations there. Let no one be found among you who sacrifices his son or daughter in the fire. Of course, at that time, that's what they were doing. It says, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft or spells or casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist or consult the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord, and because of these detestable practices, the Lord your God will drive out those nations before you. You must be blameless before the Lord your God. That's Deuteronomy 18:9. So, and then of course there's many more, but the Lord gives an edict and says, don't tamper with this stuff. I mean, it's not because he was trying to give them make rules, hard rules. He was trying to help his children because he knows.
They made poison stickers for a reason.
Yeah,
right. Mr.
exactly.
Yuck.
That's right.
Wasn't
That's
it called
right,
Mr.
Elise.
Yuck?
Mr. Yuck.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right,
Mr.
Elise.
Yuck.
Green.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and that's who the Lord our God is. He's a merciful, loving God. He doesn't come down on you with a hammer, but He will tell you the things that if you do this, you're going to find yourself in this situation.
Right.
But the children of Israel, they wanted to do what they wanted to do, and they were doing this, and
They soon found out.
they soon found out.
Yeah.
So you're a demonologist, biblical based. Okay. So can you explain the demonology part? And is it similar to what? Is there a difference between an exorcist and a demonologist?
Well,
Sort of.
well,
Excuse me, I want to know.
an exorcist. That's from the,
Isn't that the Catholic faith?
Exactly,
It's the
right,
Catholic
Catholic
faith.
faith. And
It's a different technique. It's a different book.
yeah, and I have and I have my problems with that. Malachi Martin, who was an exorcist that worked with one of the famous cases that we see. He in his book Bondage to the Devil, he explains and he explains it from the Catholic faith side, and they have their rituals. But the thing about the Catholic faith is that they've been doing this for a long time,
Right.
Sure.
and they have their rituals. And all I know is that when I see them work, it works. I mean, they're calling on the same Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit that I am, but they go through a different ritual with the holy water now.
Kind of like the Native Americans,
Yeah.
casting out the demons. Got to go sit in that sweat tent and, sweat it out, and feathers and smoke.
Peace pipe.
Yeah, peace pipe. Don't forget the peace pipe.
Yeah, what's in that pipe?
Yeah, what is in that pipe?
Again, I want to mention the phone number. We would love it if we had some people calling in, and if you have any
You want me to go
questions.
call in?
Could you run out there and actually have one of the guys out there grab a cell phone and give us a call? The number again is 503-667-7555. 503-667-7555.
I gotta
7555.
Only 3 5s.
Okay, all right. So feel free to call in and talk to Mr. Douglas or Elise or myself or all three of us. We'd love to hear from you. So about the demonology, do you get phone calls? I know you had asked earlier about getting phone calls regarding hauntings and things like that. Do you have people call in and say, I have a demon in my house, can you come get rid of it?
Well,
I guess it would be difficult in the woods to
yeah,
receive a phone call like that.
Well, when I was
You
out
could
there,
get pinged.
but pinged, that's right.
the
Smoke signals.
Yeah.
the thing is that I talk to Christians because there is so much witchcraft in the church. People don't know it. It's subtle, but well, it's subtle and overt because like I said, my family, that was totally witchcraft, and even though they didn't know it, but the rituals that they were going through, and another thing I would advise people that know where you're at before you have somebody lay their hands on you, because there's a lot of preachers out there that can lay their hands on you and you'll find something totally different going on in your home than the Holy Spirit.
Well, I'll tell you, my granny, she always used to say, it doesn't matter where you are, you can always be with God. You don't have to go to church to be with God.
Is that what
Well,
you did?
Yeah,
but
that's what she used to say.
well, but that's true though.
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
He's always with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that. I believe that. Well,
Especially too with a lot of these churches these days, sometimes there are those questionings of that shadiness, that gray area.
Yeah.
That and you do hear a lot of horror stories about certain types of church, and they're all different types of religion.
But
It's not to say that all are like that.
But as the Bible says, there's one Spirit.
So you really felt like the Pentecostals were into witchcraft? I mean,
Oh, no, not just the Pentecostals.
Witchcraft in itself is spells and potions and herbal. I mean, that's
Incantations
defines witchcraft.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Craft. But my family came from Pentecostal, the Holy Rollers, and I didn't know. I had my great grandmother was a Pentecostal minister.
not necessarily Pentecostal. Don't get me wrong.
No, but I'm curious about because the Pentecostal faith is fascinating to watch. I mean, the fact that they're going into this kind of ceremonial thing. What is the? I know from you grew up more in it than I ever got to experience. But what was their point to that? I mean, what was the point of going? Was it a cleansing to them as far as the religion was concerned?
I believe that they were totally oblivious to what they were doing.
Creating,
they were creating. But
yet it was in their mind. It was a cleansing. It was a cleansing thing.
Exactly. But that's not what it was.
It's kind of like that guy that got bit by the snake. In the
Oh,
window,
yes,
and he died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was okay because it's the will of the Lord, or that it's the will of the
The Bible
snake.
says, "Don't
Snakes are
test
not
the
good.
Lord."
Yeah, well,
Yes.
snakes aren't good anywhere in the Bible.
Yeah, you're talking about that serpent, right? Yeah, but
Or in your house.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But you don't test the Lord. I mean, I wouldn't take a snake and put it up in my face and dance with it. A rattlesnake that can bite you and kill you.
Yeah.
Not a tarantula, not a snake, not
Not me.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, get
Some
that
people
snake.
eat tarantulas and snakes.
Oh, boy.
Totally different show.
Yes, but fascinating, all in the same. One of the things that Douglas and I were talking a little bit before the show is that my thing is by not being affiliated with any religion is that I get to experience all people's religions. So I find an absolute fascination in hearing what all people believe and how it is that they conduct through life with their energy force and their vessel and what powers them, what moves them. So any of it's interesting to me, serpents and all.
Now, were you Christian?
I have never been anything. I grew up with astrology, tarot, crystal balls, crystals. Although I did have a very wonderful Christian family that I was really close with, and I would go to Sunday school with them. But I was sitting there and I would just think, I just feel like there's just something more I'm not gathering. I got it. I understood it. It's just I've always felt like there was something more. There was a lot of unexplained events for me that happened that were not right by the faith that I was studying. It was not right for me to feel that way. It was not right for me to know that information. And so it was always perplexing to me that I knew what was going to happen before it was supposed to happen. Well, this wasn't supposed to. I wasn't supposed to be knowledge of this. This was supposed to be God's thing, or So there was a lot of things that contradicted what I'm reading in the Bible. And of course, if I believe in something strongly, I want to follow it. I don't want to be a weekend Christian, or where it's like you live the whole week and you just do whatever you want to, and then on the weekend you're by the book.
Yeah, a lot of people are like that.
And I believe that if you believe in something, that you should follow it through. Follow it through. So
find out.
It's not a free card by not being affiliated with anything, but I think it keeps, for me and my purpose in life, it keeps me open-minded and helps me just to get that knowledge. Knowledge is power for me. It's very interesting, and there's hundreds, and I mean, even like I was talking to a girlfriend at work, and she's LDS Mormon. I was talking about the prophecy, and that there has always been a prophet since Joseph Smith, and they always have a prophet that's a head leader in the church. So fascinating. I've talked with people who are Jehovah's Witness. On the other side, they believe it's absolutely paradise. It's so much more beautiful than what we live in right now. Fascinating. I'm here. I don't know, but
they use the same Bible that I use, and that's not what this book says. This book says that there's one God, one Spirit.
Sure.
That we all, if you're in the faith, that's what we abide by, the one God, the one Spirit. Not many spirits, even though there are many spirits in the world. This is what the Bible says. There are many spirits in the world, but I believe that if it is not of the one true God, it is of
Something else.
I believe it's of Satan. I believe that there's the Civitas Diaboli and the Civitas Dei, the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan. And I believe that there's only those two opposing forces in this universe.
So explain to me the blood of the lamb, because for me that's really a first time that I've heard that. I mean, what is it? Where does that come from, and what does that mean?
Okay, blood of the lamb, when because in earlier times,
I don't really like lamb, and that's kind of what it makes me think of as blood and lamb. And then I'm like, oh, I don't really like lamb.
well, the lamb
kinda
part is
stinky. I mean, to eat.
the sacrifice. You know, the
Except sometimes with mint jelly.
I like lamb.
I love lamb
With the mint
myself.
jelly?
Yeah.
No jelly.
Oh no, mint jelly.
No,
It
mint
goes. You know what I'm
Right,
talking
of
about,
course,
right? With mint
yes.
jelly, right? Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Blood of the lamb sacrifice.
The sacrifices started earlier. When they sacrificed lamb and bull, sheep, and
Back in like Jesus' time.
right. But this was all a precursor to the coming of Christ, because Christ was going to be the ultimate sacrifice. Okay. His blood being shed, he died on the cross, shed his blood for our sins. That blood that he shed is the power.
Okay.
Everything in the Bible was leading up to Jesus Christ. All the prophets, everything that they talked about was about Christ, about
So
his
is it
coming.
blood on the lamb or blood in the lamb? No, I'm just seeing the cross.
After the show, I'll hold her down for
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much. No.
He's dripping. There's a lamb because
Right,
everybody's
right.
gonna eat later.
And next week, we're going to show you how to cook lamb,
Oh wait,
starring
we
Chef Douglas Jackson,
Well, I can do
who is
that.
a chef as well.
Exactly.
I don't think there's anything you can't do.
Oh, Douglas,
So-
I
I'm
know,
just keeping
I
it
know,
fun.
Elise. I know. And hey, why
But
shouldn't
I
we
like
have a
what
little
you're
fun?
saying. I think
Exactly.
it's very interesting, and that's the first time I've heard of blood of the lamb, and I think I will look that up and Google
Good,
that and get some
good.
information on that because I find that really fascinating.
Yes.
You want to write that down? So, for people who would love to buy your book,
Yes, where can they get it?
can you please tell us all where can we go to buy this book?
Amazon.
Amazon.
You can buy the book, and you can get it in ebook.
Okay.
Yes.
And so we just look up Douglas C. Jackson or
Well,
Valley of Silent Men for this particular
and
book.
read the caption under it.
When the Only Way Out is Up.
That's that, because there's another book out called let's see, mine is Valley of Silent Men. Valley of
It's the one you don't want to get.
It's the one you don't want to
You
get.
wanna
You want to
get
get
the-
Valley of
Yeah,
Silent
exactly.
Men. That's
Okay.
right. That's right. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to read it. I apologize for not having time. It's your fault.
It is.
Because
It is.
You just kept me talking all night. And I'm a shy person, so
Oh, you are so shy.
Yeah,
I am so shy. So we have about a little less than 10 minutes in the show, and again, this is your last chance to call in, and the number again is 503-667-7555. So I'm curious to know. Okay, I've been fascinated with the paranormal since I was 10 years old. I had a terrifying experience which threw me into the world of curiosity of the paranormal. What in your life has happened, if you could pick one thing that was the most terrifying in the paranormal
It's going to be
realm?
have to short story though.
Yes, the
Okay,
short
yeah,
version.
yeah,
The 4-minute version.
Well, because we were young, because not only was our church haunted, but our house was haunted, and it was my mother and father. It was just a war, and now, like I said,
Demons.
Yeah.
In retrospect, I look back on that and see that all the craziness that was going
He was
on.
hitting her, and she didn't even know
Th-
why.
it-
And she was
it-
spitting back at him because they were not.
Well, they didn't hit each other, but
that's
they
good.
it was just screaming just all the time.
Anger.
Okay, so they go to church one night, and we always heard sounds in our house, and my brothers and sisters and I were home, and we heard footsteps, loud footsteps upstairs. And so we all went in the kitchen and got knives and forks. And we creeped up to the stairs. And whatever that thing was up there took 2 giant steps down the stairs, and all the knives and forks went up into the roof. And we
Got out of that house.
we got out. But when my parents came home, we were all across the street.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, whatever this was, it was so terrifying.
And how old were you? Were you at
Oh,
the time?
I was probably 7 or 8.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I said, it was terrifying. As an adult, I've seen some. I've seen a full body apparition walk right by us. It was a freak storm. This thing just walked right by us. I've seen them moving around, but I'd say the growl that night.
Wow.
I mean, even though it didn't terrify me, but just to know. I mean, if you never knew before, you know now.
Which this is not an invitation to go out and know.
No.
No.
By
But
no means, if
No.
you're not a professional,
don't.
do not practice this at home, out on the streets, wherever.
No.
Anywhere.
No.
Anywhere.
Because you know what? You
We
may
need to
not
have one
see
of
it,
those little captions
We
across the
do.
seat.
Yeah, exactly.
but you may not see it today or tomorrow. It may not happen for years, but when those things are in your life, they're going to affect you.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. So, like you said, don't play around with them if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
So everybody needs to go out and get this book, The Valley of the Silent Men.
Nope, that's it. The Valley of the Silent Men is the book that you don't want to get.
Okay.
Valley of Silent Men is the book you want to
Valley,
get.
Valley
of
of
Silent Men. See?
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. And so,
Douglas, I'm so glad you came to join us today,
Thank
and
you
you
so
made the
much.
train ride out for us. You've been
Absolutely.
a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you.
so did you learn anything today?
I've learned a lot tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I have too.
Have you?
I have.
Well, you got to talk to him, all night
you know,
long.
and I had already interviewed, and that's just my nature, just as you already know. And so I already knew a lot of the things that we talked about tonight. But
So what
I'm
is going
excited
to happen next week?
Okay, so once again, you go to Amazon.com, Valley of
Pick up the book.
Silent Men,
Pick it up.
Valley of Silent Men, and the author is Douglas C. Jackson. When the Only Way Out is Up.
That's it.
So you can go to Amazon and get that book. I definitely encourage you. I look forward to the second book coming out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And so we would love to have you on again. We have a little less than 5 minutes on the show, and so next week we have a good friend of mine. He's an actor I call him Mr. Hollywood, and tease him, but he's done countless films, television shows, and he did a movie called Under the Bed, which was a ghost type of movie.
What was under the bed?
Can't tell you. You have to see the movie. And so, which Redbox.
On my way home.
There you go. Now, the movie that he just came out with is called Alien Abduction, and it premieres here in Portland, Oregon. It's already premiered in New York and elsewhere, but it'll be May 2nd, Friday, May 2nd, 10 o'clock at the Clinton Street Theater. But Peter will be on. His name is Peter Holden, Peter Osley Holden. He'll be on the show next Thursday night, which is May 1st at 7 o'clock. So I am so excited. I haven't seen him in years. We've talked many times and spoken over the phone. So I'm excited. My whole family's excited because we go way back. So I look forward to it. And did I show you the trailer? I don't think I showed you the trailer. You got to see the trailer for this movie, especially before next week. It looks terrifying, and it's the whole alien abduction thing. And so
We're going to have you back on the show, and you're going to have to talk to us about your alien thoughts.
yes.
Oh, I have
You
thoughts.
have thoughts, yes.
I have seen things. Oh, well, we don't have enough time, but
Go
yeah.
ahead. No, go ahead. We have a couple more minutes.
My wife and I were on the Calapooie River in our hammock at night. My wife spotted something moving across the sky, and we're looking at this thing, and it stopped above us, and we started to pray. And this thing exploded into a light so brilliant, it lit up the whole night sky, and then shot straight up.
Wow.
I've got much more.
Oh, I can't
Thank
wait.
you, Douglas.
I can't wait.
Thank you.
It's exciting. All the things that we're hearing, the people that we're meeting, Mr. Jackson here, and all the other guests that we've had, and the future guests we have. We've got some exciting shows coming up,
We
and so I'm
definitely
really
do.
looking forward
All
to
right.
it. And you know, I found recently with plugging this show and talking to people in the studio and elsewhere, people are fascinated by the paranormal,
Yes.
even more so than I thought.
Yes.
I thought I was the only weirdo.
No.
Apparently, you know, there's a bunch of us. So, anyways, we'd like to thank you all for being here and listening to our show and watching our show, and we look forward to next week. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you again next week, 7 p.m. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Do you believe in the world of the paranormal? Ghosts, demons, and hauntings? And if you do, please join us as we talk about all things paranormal. As we leap into Paranormal Crossings. Paranormal Crossings. Paranormal Crossings.